So with this DJI, does this one have the waypoint navigational capability as well? So that's an extra module you have to pop for?
I haven't used it yet, and I think it comes with it automatically. I gotta say, my advisor purchased all this, and we had just asked him, we're like, hey, if you have any extra funds, if it's possible to get a drone. And he's like, yeah, let's get the DJI Phantom Vision. Let's do it with the built-in camera and the case and butt extra batteries. I'm like, okay, apparently you had lots of money.
Apparently you
was waiting for somebody to ask it. Yeah, I think he's just like, oh, I got some grad students who want to do this project. Perfect, I can like use that as a reason to buy all this stuff.
Well, that's just great. I mean, I'm so tickled, and I can't tell you how pleased I am that you were able to take the other gear and throw it up and get a feel for that, get some reaction to people on the ground, what their take on it is.
It's super helpful for us because we also don't want to come up with a project and say, and people think we're just doing this because we're into drones or something.
Well, right. I mean, it's just a tool, and it's part of the toolkit. And yes, we know there are special sensitivities around drones. We understand that. I mean, now you understand it personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the interesting things about this guy is you got to connect to satellites first, just like any GPS, and that's how it knows where it is. So when it takes off, and it comes up and you can hover it.
Right.
Say you lost Wi-Fi connection, it just comes right back to where it
comes
was
home.
Before.
And so that's a nice feature.
All right, here we go. So I'll show you the interface real quick. So it's looking at the camera.
Okay.
Over here it's telling you the number of satellites is this connecting to.
Got it.
So we got 100% charge. It's still working on connecting to satellites. And it's got your distance and altitude and speed information.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of stuff behind the scenes.
And it's an Android app that, in this case, is it? Do they have an iOS app?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody does, because some of the 3DR stuff is Android, and that's I think that's it. We've got connectivity there.
And then you check down here, and it's looking. So it's got these little LEDs under here.
That
kind of helps you when it's pretty high up. See which way it's going. So 2 are green and 2 are red.
Very nice feature.
So they're blinking green now, so it means that it's connected to enough satellites.
Got it.
And then I got to calibrate it by rotating it. And I rotate it like so.
Does it give some sort of a visual light enunciation when it's calibrated?
It just gives a little blink down there.
Okay, cool.
And then spin these guys on. And 2 silver ones, 2 black ones.
That's nice. So you get the counter, the counter rotating ones by the color-coded caps on them. Okay.
Yeah. And probably should be good to go here. So why don't I put it?
Wow. But it's auto holding position. It's not. You're not having to fight it.
No. So I think it'll drift a little bit, but it'll try to fight back.
Yeah.
It'll really go up there if you want.
The visual LEDs are a nice feature. I mean, the colored LEDs help a lot with orientation. That's very nice.
And then what actually gets easier is once you get to a height you're pretty comfortable with, flying first person through the phone has been pretty helpful.
Oh, yeah.
So you can just kind of see, and then you can rotate down. Here's the house.
Okay, so that's where you're using the gimbal to really...
Yeah, so the gimbal's always looking forward, and then this little knob right here just points down and up.
Seems really pretty dreamy for being able to do this kind of stuff, and for in-close, smaller mapping initiatives where you want to do something and you want to see right where it is. Whereas when I throw the kites and balloons up, I'm just kind of eyeballing it, right? That's kind of... I don't have any direct visual feedback. I know you can outfit them to do that, and some people do, but most don't.
Yeah, and this guy, I mean, if you got comfortable with it, you could fly it through a hallway. Yeah. It's like really stable.
It's just really super. This is my first experience with one, and I've got to say, it just seems really rock solid and really, really smooth and slick. Slick integrated package like this, and me fumbling around trying to build stuff and put it together is pretty striking
Yeah,
to me.
I mean, you even have kind of a technical background,
Well-
so it's interesting to see, like, anybody could get comfortable with this.
Yeah, that's really impressive. So and I'm just delighted to hear about the context you're using this, and where you will gauge people's sensitivity to it, their take on it. You know, you've had a little bit of exposure with the other platforms, the kites. Well, not the kites, because it was balloon day that day.
One of the challenges actually is I think it's taking a picture from the video feed. So when you hit take picture, you can't see anything for about 5 seconds.
Okay, so you're a little blind while it pulls
yeah,
that in.
which is challenging when you're trying to fly at first-person view. But I can record and take it down.
Well, this is a real bonus treat for me. I thank you, Peter, for thinking of me. Very cool. Very cool indeed.
Oh, a little soft in the grass there.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So then what's the disarm, disengage, walk away sequence, pack up and go?
Yeah, you can just kind of turn off the signal, turn off this guy, and then flip them off.
Ah, okay.
Right on the battery there. Yeah.
All right.
About it. So, it's been it's quite the tool. I mean, if I wanted to spend $600 to $1,200 on something, that would probably work for a few years and be a pretty interesting both toy but also research tool. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm very struck by it. I appreciate you showing me this setup. It just seems very, very accessible. And, you know, I guess that's one of the things you're hearing with the people who are flying them recklessly is maybe it's so accessible they just grab it and go and then are careless with it. But you can do that with any tool.
I think it's been useful for us so far in that it's owned by Berkeley. So
Yeah.
we're like, oh, well, maybe we don't want to damage this and be really embarrassed as those grad students who broke.
Thanks again. I appreciate you taking a few minutes and walking me through that. And again, I'd love to see, you know, when it's available, I'd love to see the video.
I thought of everything and where to put this stuff except for where to put that little...
Oh, the little visor shield?
Little visor shield. But
And that's a handy thing to have, isn't it? When you're in sunlight, it just makes all the difference in the world.
yeah, I've certainly got I didn't look at the receipt for what our advisor paid for everything, but it seems like he tried to get every possible gadget and gizmo you could get with this. So...
Those other white things, those are spare battery packs? Is that what those are?
Yeah, and I've got actually 2 more back home that are
Got it.
charging.
Got it.
And there's some extra blades. And even when sometimes these get stuck when you're trying to take them off.
Ah, yeah, right.
They even came with a little tool to solve that problem. So it's been pretty...
Well, I've got to say, it just seems like it goes together and comes, you know, puts back in the box really, really smooth and slick in a way that again, makes it pretty, you know, not a lot of tortuous setup time and trying to get going or when you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. They just gave us this little guy, so if you
okay, so you
can't
could
get it quite off,
yeah.
it works just fine. Yeah, we should probably feel bad that we bought the DJI instead of a 3DR since they're right there in Berkeley. But,
Well, you know.
no, this is what the review said was like the easiest to fly right out of the box.
There you go. And I think you've got demonstrated experience now that you can certainly aid into that discussion with an informed viewpoint and having, you know, used it in a number of contexts with your team and.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting industry. So I know that actually I just saw a headline today. The FAA sent a takedown notice to somebody who posted drone footage on YouTube because they claimed it was for commercial purposes since there's advertising on YouTube. And the guy was like,
hey,
this is just video.
That is curious. So they stepped up and got after him after that, as opposed to he was actually actively, you know, I'm going to sell you real estate footage of your home or an aerial survey of your ranch or something like that.
It seems like actually it may have been like a one-off and they're kind of embarrassed by it.
Okay.
It might have been some kind of mid-level person
who
made like
overreached a bit, maybe.
And now they're trying to pull back. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen there.
He's flying something?
Well, Peter he's just putting it away here, but we did a very brief flight with this DJI Phantom. and he showed me the ease of use, this nice carrying
Oh,
case
isn't
and
it
everything.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's pretty aesthetically
Oh,
pleasing.
look at the mounting for the
It's,
camera.
And that is the camera there.
Cool.
There's the little GoPro.
Yeah, I know.
in
I'm
there.
looking at
But-
so that's a GoPro?
But Peter showed me.
Actually, it comes with it, but a lot of people do.
Oh,
A lot of
okay.
people do not buy the built-in camera and install their own
Oh,
GoPros.
okay. Okay.
Pretty
Oh, so is it a non-GoPro?
This is not a GoPro.
Okay, so it's another
This is
like.
whatever DJI, whatever camera company they
Got-
Good. I really
Yeah.
appreciate all the help and advice.
Oh, you can tell I'm an advocate for encouraging people to engage these tools and these processes, and I think it's just very exciting the stuff you're up to and Christian's up to and the whole community is up to. And